In this video, I'll be taking a round-trip flight from Toronto to Vancouver with Porter Airlines in their new Embraer E2 jets. I'm going to give you a full and honest review of my experience and tell you if it's worth flying. I began my journey at Toronto Pearson Airport. I didn't have anything to check in, so I skipped the Porter front desk and went straight to security. Once I got to the gate, I was actually surprised at how small it was. I'm not sure if all the Porter gates are like this in this airport, but I didn't have any room to sit right in front of the gate, so I sat in the bar next to it. The flight I'm taking is PD 305, departing at 10:30 a.m. I was able to get a look of the cool looking Embraer E195 E2 jets while I was waiting to board. It's a 132-seater plane that Porter recently started using in 2023. Porter does about 5 daily round trips as of now from YYZ to YVR. Quick note, I did get this flight free from Porter, but I'm still providing my honest thoughts and opinions for this review. The boarding was delayed for about 10 minutes, but when I finally made it onto the plane, I was impressed by how clean and modern the plane looked. The overhead bins were spacious and my carry-on was able to fit with ease. I'm a big fan of the 2-seat per row layout that Porter uses on all their planes. So this is what the seats look like in reserve. My seat had good padding and it was very comfortable to sit in. It had a height and side adjustable headrest, and the seat also reclines 6 inches. I had about 36 inches of legroom and was able to fit my bag under the seat and still have enough space for my legs. And if you don't have a bag, you have even more legroom. Now, Porter has 3 different seating options for this plane. They have reserve, stretch, and classic. This plane doesn't have any in-flight entertainment, but they do give all passengers free Wi-Fi, which is basically all you need. In the pocket below, you'll find a card that shows you that you're in Porter Reserve, a barf bag, a Porter magazine, which actually has some interesting articles, and a map of locations they fly to, and finally, the safety instructions pamphlet. There's also a bifold tray table which seemed pretty sturdy. Lastly, they have 2 universal 110 volt outlets at the bottom of the seat, and here's the controls on the top of the seat. They're pretty standard. You get a light switch, flight attendant call button, and an adjustable fan. After we had finished boarding, the flight attendants handed everyone in reserve this card. Since this flight is longer than 2 hours, everybody in reserve gets a meal included with their seat. So here's what the menu look like. They have a breakfast and lunch/dinner section with a couple options to choose from. Since this flight is in the afternoon, I'll be choosing from the lunch/dinner section. It says right here you get a meal box, which probably has your apps, I'm guessing, and 4 options for mains. I'm gonna go with the vegetarian Buddha bowl. And on the back, they have a list of snacks and beverages. For drinks, they offer free beer and wine to all passengers in glassware, which is dope. And they also offer free snacks to everyone on the plane from locally sourced vendors. So this is the view from my seat. I also noticed a touchscreen at the front of the plane, which seems to be some sort of controller. I really like the LED lighting that's seen all over the plane. It gives a clean and modern look. One thing to note is that the layout of the windows is pretty odd because some of them are kind of behind the seat. Here's what the cabin sounded like while we were in the air. As you can tell, the sound of the engine is minimal. They also changed the LEDs on the roof to blue after we took off. Now that we were in the air, I decided to connect to the plane's free Wi-Fi. Once you select the network, you'll see this pop up. You can get Wi-Fi for the whole flight if you sign in with a Porter account or watch an ad every 30 minutes. Side note, you can click the entertainment button to get access to Porter's selection of movies and TV shows. They got some decent stuff on there. I forgot my Porter pass, so I went with the 30-minute option. The ad was about 20 seconds long, but I didn't mind it because it was pretty funny. Here's a speed test, and the Wi-Fi is pretty decent, although I did have some trouble loading up a couple Instagram reels, but nothing too serious. So about 10 or 20 minutes after takeoff, I received the meal I had ordered earlier. I got water, a ginger shot, the appetizers, and my main. So this is the meal box and I really love the presentation. I received couscous, these mini bagel things, a small chocolate, and a cutlery set with a napkin. The couscous was a solid 10 out of 10. The little bagel bites were great too, a solid 9 out of 10. Next up is the main. I got a Buddha bowl as the main and it was decent. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Lastly, I had this chocolate and that was a solid 10 out of 10 as well. Overall, a great meal. The meal box also came with this cardboard phone holder that you construct yourself. It was pretty easy to make and very solid. So far, I'm pretty impressed with their service and seating experience. Midway through the flight, my phone battery was running low, so I decided to test out the charging port. I plugged in my charger and it worked as it should, didn't have any issues the whole flight. Later on, the flight attendants came by to hand out some snacks. I decided to get the fava beans to try something different, and of course, the infamous shortbread cookie, as well as some orange juice. I like that Porter serves drinks in glassware. I think it adds a nice touch. The flight attendants informed us that while we're crossing the Rocky Mountains, there will be some turbulence. The plane did shake quite a bit, but it was nothing scary. I didn't get any footage of the washroom this time around, but on the flight back, I will. We started the descent and overall, it was a good landing at 12:51 PST. I honestly really enjoyed this flight to Vancouver, and it was way better than my WestJet flight to LA I took earlier this year. Now it's time for my flight back to Toronto. I got to the airport and again skipped the Porter front desk. The seating area for this gate was better than the one at Pearson, although this airport is crustier looking. Side note, this airport has stunning views of the mountains. Boarding was pretty smooth. For the flight back, I'll be in Porter's stretch, which is behind the reserve section. Legroom was pretty good in this seat as it's only 2 inches less than reserve. Everything else was pretty much the same as my flight to Vancouver, but luckily this time around I was able to get a window seat. It had a great view of the wing and the engine. Near the top of the seat was a menu for the Porter Cafe. It shows you what you can get for free as well as paid items like the meals included in Porter Reserve. They generally seem to be in the range of $12 to $14, which I personally wouldn't get unless I was really hungry. And the last page had a couple of items you can purchase such as chocolate bars and keychains. There's also a card that showed all the destinations Porter flies to. Just before takeoff, I was offered an upgrade to Porter Reserve, which I obviously accepted. Takeoff was smooth, and after we got in the air, I was given a food menu just like the last flight. This time around, I chose an Asian noodle salad bowl and orange juice. While I was waiting for my meal to be served, I wanted to check out the washrooms. They have 2 washrooms on board, and this is what it looked like. It was small and nice and had touchless buttons, which was a great feature. I got back to my seat just in time for the food service. This meal box had a Mediterranean dip, cornbread, crackers, and that amazing chocolate. Here's what my Asian noodle bowl looked like. Overall, I'd give this meal a 7 out of 10. I was pretty bored on the way back, so I chose to watch a movie from Porter's selection. I chose to watch Vacation, and it's such a funny movie, and you already know I had to get snacks as well. I tried out this snack mix and of course had to get the shortbread cookie. As the sun set, they turned off the cabin lights and left on the blue LEDs, which was honestly such a vibe. And 4 hours or so later, we landed. We actually ended up arriving 13 minutes earlier than expected. From the free Wi-Fi, comfy seats, clean plane, it was really an enjoyable experience. I'd give this flight with Porter a solid 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend flying on Porter's new jets if you haven't already. You can click the link in the description or in the comment section below to book a flight with them. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.